Hey guys, thanks for watching my monthly vlog, which I haven't done in 6 months, so maybe I should call it a yearly vlog. Today we're going to talk about the fact that you aren't qualified. As some of you guys know, my siblings and I have traveled around the country for the past 4 years, singing music, leading worship at churches, and just having a general good time with our music and getting to share that with others. And it's such a privilege, such a blessing. We've had so many people who have been just amazing. I mean, people are so kind and so generous. And the Lord has really put that on our heart, that that's what we're called to do in this season of our life. I need to take drawing lessons this summer, I know. Okay, I know. But recently, it happened. My brother was at lunch with somebody, and they were talking about music and vision for the future and what God's called us to do. And in so many words, the friend said, you know, you guys just aren't qualified. So for a while, we were thinking, oh my word, is this real? Like, we have this huge question mark in our lives, and thinking, well, maybe we're not supposed to do this. Like, are we qualified? Are we not qualified? So we decided to take the criticism and look at it and say, okay, well, is there any truth in this? And so we went to the Bible and we decided, let's go see what the Bible has to say about who's qualified and who's not qualified. So the first person I thought of was Esther. And I thought, well, Esther had to be qualified, right? She was queen of Israel. She was chosen among all the women in Israel. But you know what? If you don't know much about Esther's story, she was brought up as an orphan by her uncle Mordecai. She didn't have any royal training. She wasn't prepared to be queen, but she was chosen and put in that place. The next person I thought about was David. David was a man after God's own heart. He was king of Israel. He was definitely qualified, right? But when you go read about David, he grew up as a shepherd boy. All his brothers were doing their thing, and he was out tending the flocks. In fact, when God told Samuel, hey, go to the family of Jesse, and that's where the next king of Israel will come from, Samuel went through all the sons of Jesse. And God said, nope, none of these are them. Samuel then asked Jesse, David's dad, well, do you have any more boys? And he said, oh, I've got David, but he's out in the field, he's tending sheep, yeah, you don't want to see him. And Samuel said, well, bring him in, let's take a look at him. And when he came in, God said, that's the one, that's your king. The shepherd boy who is out in the field tending the flock, that's who I want you to put over the country of Israel. Well, Moses had to be qualified. He led millions of people out from Egypt. He faced up to Pharaoh. He was turning staffs into snakes and bringing down plagues. And I thought, well, he definitely was qualified. I mean, who's going to lead these millions of people out of Israel, right? Who's God going to call? Somebody who's qualified. But then, when you go read about Moses in the book of Exodus, he murdered an Egyptian overseer or an Egyptian guard who was watching over the Jews. Then he ran, and then when God called him and said, Moses, I want you to go free my people. Moses said, oh God, who am I? I'll go if you let my brother speak for me. I'll just be a representative. Moses was too scared to even speak to Pharaoh. He was definitely not qualified. So then I thought, okay, well, let's jump to the New Testament. Who was qualified in the New Testament? I mean, we are surrounded by amazing people in the New Testament. So I thought, well, we've got 12 guys in the disciples, 11, let's exclude Judas, who, these guys are the foundation of the church. I mean, they're visionaries, they're going out preaching the gospel, they're missionaries, they're being crucified for Jesus. These guys are the cream of the crop. Then you go look at these guys. I'm ready to find some qualified disciples here. Oh, and then you realize these guys are fishermen, tax collectors. They're not qualified to be with Jesus. In fact, when Jesus was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, the disciples ran. And Peter even denies Jesus 3 times. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's 4 strikes. Usually 3 strikes and you're out. I tried to do 4. Okay, well, this is looking really interesting. All right, so the point is, none of us are qualified. There are some things that God wants us to be doing that qualify us. Like I thought of 2 Timothy 2, 21 through 22. Therefore, if anyone cleanses himself from what is dishonorable, he will be a vessel for honorable use, set apart as holy, useful to the master of the house, ready for every good work. So flee youthful passions, pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart. When we're pursuing a right relationship with God and loving others, and totally under His authority, that's what qualifies us to do His work. Because you know, the truth is, none of us are qualified to do God's work. But that's okay, because He doesn't call the qualified. He calls those who are willing to be used as tools for Him. You know, Esther didn't have royalty training, neither did David. Moses didn't take classes in leadership or public speaking. And the disciples didn't go to seminary, although they were with Jesus. That's like the best seminary you could have. None of these people were qualified. This is just a smattering of people in the Bible who God used, who weren't qualified by our definition. They all have something in common, and that is that they were wanting and willing to do God's work that he had called them to do. 2 Corinthians 4:7 tells us, but we have this treasure in jars of clay. It's talking about us having the gospel. I did a little illustration for you there, if you were wondering. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. You know, we could never do anything on our own to be qualified for the work that God calls us to do. But that just shows his amazing love, that he allows us to be lights for him and enables us through his Spirit to do the work that he calls us to do. When God calls us to do something, we may feel unqualified. And I'm even going to go so far as to say we probably are going to feel unqualified. But he gives us the ability to go through that. You don't have to be qualified. You simply have to be willing to be used as a tool for him. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks to the Lives Young Women Believe team for putting this on their site and just for the amazing work they do. I put some names on the board that you should go research, and you can go research to see who God really used but who weren't qualified. Esther, David, Moses. I included Samson and Paul as a couple additions. Leave a comment below if you have a question or a thought. I'd love if you give the video a thumbs up. You can follow me on social media at BeachApproach. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next month.